Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, our sources are all pointing towards the physics of the golf swing.
That's right.
Specifically, we're analyzing that post-impact extension P8, and we're using the BioSwing Dynamics framework to understand it.
A really fascinating part of the swing.
It really is. And just to be clear for everyone listening, we're not focusing on P7, the actual moment of impact.
Moment of truth, as they say.
Exactly. We're looking just after that. That immediate follow-through position, P8. It's like a snapshot, isn't it?
It absolutely is.
Yep.
And it tells you pretty much everything about energy release, sequencing.
And consistency, which is what everyone's chasing.
Right. Our mission here is really to dig into what a golfer's specific P8 position can tell us about their natural core tendencies.
Okay, so define P8 for us again precisely. When does it actually happen?
Yeah, it's quick. It's defined as that position just milliseconds after the ball has left the club face.
Okay.
The key markers are the trailing arm has reached full extension and the club shaft is parallel to the ground again.
But on the target side this time.
Exactly, on the follow-through side. It's often overlooked, maybe because it happens so fast.
So why is it so revealing then? If impact is P7, why does this split second after matter so much?
Well, think of it this way. P7 tells you what happened to the ball, the result.
Right. Did it go straight? Did it slice?
Precisely. But P8, that tells you how the golfer achieved that result, how efficiently they moved through the ball, not just at it.
Ah, okay. So it's about the quality of the movement past impact.
Yes, a strong P8, one that matches your core type, confirms you generated speed correctly, kept your balance, and released that energy smoothly.
And if it looks messy?
If your P8 looks awkward or forced, that's a huge indicator. It tells you you're probably leaking power somewhere, maybe in transition or approaching impact. You didn't sequence things right.
Got it. Okay, let's unpack the first type then, the upper core golfer.
Right.
Our sources say they use vertical force. How does that show up at P8?
It's all about vertical extension for them. Upper core players use the ground to push upwards, creating lift. And that force, that upward thrust, is really visible immediately after impact. Their release pattern is distinctly upward and outward.
So they finish high, naturally.
Exactly. They're almost, you could say, jumping upwards as they swing, which minimizes that sort of rotational bending you see in other types.
Okay, specifics then. At that P8 moment, trail arms straight, shaft parallel. What do the club and arms look like for this upper core player, given that lift?
Well, while the shaft is parallel to the ground definitionally at P8, it's moving upwards very quickly.
Ah, okay. It's on a steep upward path.
Dramatically so. If you slow down the video, you'll see the hands are noticeably high, often well above waist level, and the club is exiting sharply left and high.
So if an upper core player has low hands at P8,
That's a red flag. It likely means they stalled their body rotation and just threw their arms at it or...
or maybe they tried to swing more around, like another type.
Exactly. They forced a rotational pattern that doesn't fit their natural geometry, killing their vertical leverage.
Okay. But wait a second. You hear a lot in golf teaching about keeping the club on a flatter plane through impact for control. Doesn't this vertical extension, doesn't that make things harder to control?
That's a really great point. It touches on that risk-reward idea.
Yeah.
But for the upper core player, embracing that vertical extension is how they find consistency. They need to use that upward force.
So trying to stay low would actually hurt them.
Absolutely. If they try to stay down and rotate deeply, like, say, a lower core player, they disrupt their own lever system. You'll often see blocks or pulls.
Okay. So what about their body at P8? Spine angle, torso.
Because of that vertical push, their spine angle is naturally more upright post-impact. They've essentially extended out of their address posture.
Makes sense.
The chest is fully facing the target, showing continued upper body rotation. But crucially, there's very little lateral tilt. The extension is vertical, not heavily side-bending or rotating around a deep axis.
And the lower body. You mentioned they use the ground for lift?
Yeah, the lead leg is the key here. It acts almost like a launch pad.
A launch pad. How so?
It's fully braced and extended. It becomes this rigid pillar that supports that powerful upward thrust.
So it's not absorbing force, it's transmitting it upwards.
Precisely. The hips are open, sure, but the main flow of energy is channeled vertically up through that braced lead side.
So the result is often high speed, high launch.
Yes, high ball speed, maximum carry potential. The trade-off, as you hinted, is that without perfect timing, that aggressive vertical launch can introduce a bit more directional variability compared to a more centered pattern.
Okay, so summing up P8 for the upper core. High hands, Club exiting high and left, upright posture, and that lead leg acting like a braced pillar for vertical power. It confirms they launched it.
You got it. It shows they used their speed vertically.
All right, now let's pivot. That was all about vertical lift. How does the middle core player manage their P8? Our sources call them the masters of synchronization. How do they avoid that extreme verticality but still keep speed and balance?
Yeah, the middle core is quite different. Their P8 is all about efficiency and balance, not extremity. They're the balanced archetype. Their movement is highly rotational, centered around a really stable axis. The defining feature is how well the upper body turn and the lower body rotation are synced up.
And that synchronization shows up at P8?
Perfectly.
Yeah.
At P8, for a middle core player, you're looking for preservation. The club shaft is parallel, yes, but it's exiting neatly just left of the target line, not dramatically high or low.
And the arms.
Unlike the upper core's high exit, the hands stay more integrated, rising just slightly. But the key thing is both arms remain extended, maintaining that width they created earlier.
Keeping the structure.
Exactly. The speed of the arms and the speed of the torso rotation are perfectly matched. That's the synchronization.
That sounds incredibly controlled, very accurate, I'd imagine.
It often translates to that, yes. Because if the speeds are matched, their axis must be stable, right?
Makes sense.
And the defining detail, the thing you really look for in a middle core P8, is that the spine angle established at address is beautifully preserved right through impact and into P8.
So they don't stand up like the upper core.
No, they don't stand up. And they don't have excessive side tilt either. They rotate around a consistent center point. Their chest at P8 is usually square to the target or maybe just slightly open.
And the head, does it stay back?
It releases naturally with the body's rotation. There's no forced holding it back or down, which is another sign of truly synchronized, efficient movement.
Okay, so if the upper core lead leg is that rigid pillar, how does the middle core lower body support this centered rotation?
It's less about rigidity and more about fluidity and spring.
Spring.
Yeah, the lead knee typically remains flexed at P8. Weight's fully on the lead side, hips are rotating open, but that slight flex in the knee acts like a shock absorber.
Ah, allowing rotation without disruption.
Exactly. It lets the pelvis turn smoothly without too much unwanted vertical or lateral shift. If you see a middle core player with a completely locked straight lead leg at P8, that's usually a sign they pushed up too early, maybe trying an upper core move, and it probably threw them off their axis.
Right, got it. So the middle core P8 really validates that synchronized label. It's rotational, it's centered,
And balanced.
which leads to repeatability. Because if the pattern is neutral and centered, you're minimizing the variables.
That's the idea. High accuracy, predictable ball flight. It's a very efficient model.
Okay, fascinating contrast. Now, let's complete the picture with the lower core player. They rely heavily on the ground too, but more for rotation, right? Aggressive rotary movement.
That's right.
So what makes their P8 position so distinct? It's often called more grounded or deep.
It is, because their primary extension is around the body, not vertically up like the upper core or purely balanced like the middle core. Their goal is maximizing rotational speed, using those ground reaction forces in a rotary way.
So P8 reflects that.
Absolutely. If the upper core P8 is about height, the lower core P8 is about maximum depth or wrap.
Okay, describe that wrap at P8. Club and arms.
You'll see the club shaft parallel, yes, but it's exiting dramatically low and left, really feeling like it's wrapping around the torso.
Lower than the middle core.
Oh yeah, noticeably lower. The trail arm extends, but along a much flatter arc. And the hands feel deeper, more behind the lead side of the body compared to the other types.
It's like they're finishing lower and more around themselves.
Exactly. If the upper core finish feels like an exclamation mark pointing up, the lower core finish feels like a deep, low curve around them.
That sounds like it requires incredible rotation. How do they maintain stability, especially spine tilt, with that much force going around?
That's the challenge in the skill. It requires maintaining that axis of rotation deep into the follow-through. Even though their hips have rotated very aggressively open by P8,
Yeah.
the upper body has to maintain significant spine tilt. That tilt is what keeps the rotational axis stable and prevents them from spinning out or lifting up too early.
So the chest might not even be fully open to the target at P8?
Sometimes it can even appear slightly closed or square simply because the rotation is happening so fast and on such a tilted, shallow plane.
Okay, and this brings us to maybe the most counterintuitive part for many golfers, their head position.
Yes. This is a critical piece for the lower core player. One of the key indicators is that the head remains well behind where the ball was, even after contact, deep into P8.
And that's not a flaw. Traditional teaching often says release the head.
For them, it's not a flaw. It's essential. Keeping the head back helps them preserve that deep axis tilt. It ensures all that rotary force is delivered through the impact zone before the body starts to release upwards more naturally later in the follow-through.
What happens if their head releases too early?
They lose their axis. The tilt comes out, the path gets steep, or they might thin it. They lose that powerful grounded rotation.
And the lower body is driving this.
Absolutely. The lower body action is aggressive. The pelvis rotates deeply around the lead leg, but with minimal vertical lift compared to the upper core. The lead leg is extended, but it acts more like a post, an anchor for the pelvis to spin around powerfully.
Like spinning in a chair while staying seated.
That's a great analogy. You get tremendous rotational speed, maximum club head speed potential. It often results in a powerful, lower, more penetrating ball flight. But it demands really impeccable timing to square the face.
Okay, let's summarize the lower core P8 then. Grounded, highly rotational, shallow exit low and left, maintains spine tilt, head staying back longer, and powered by deep pelvic rotation around that lead leg anchor.
You nailed it. It's a dynamic, powerful pattern moving around a deep axis.
So let's tie this all together. For you listening, what's the big picture here? We've seen 3 very different P8 positions.
The big picture is that P8 isn't just some random pose you hit after the ball is gone. It's the physical evidence of your entire energy dynamic through the swing.
Right.
It clearly shows how these 3 different core movement patterns, the vertical upper core, the balanced middle core, and the rotary lower core, achieve full extension and energy transfer in their own unique yet equally effective ways.
And that's really the critical insight, isn't it? It demolishes the idea of one single perfect follow-through for everyone.
Absolutely. There isn't one correct P8. A good P8 for you is one that aligns perfectly with your natural core tendency, your BioSwing DNA.
So how can someone use this? How can they check their own P8?
Best way is to film your swing, preferably face on. Then just freeze the video right at that point where the club shaft is parallel to the ground on the target side after impact.
Okay, freeze frame at P8, then what?
Then compare what you see to these descriptions. If you know you tend towards upper core movements, but you see your hands are really low and deep like a lower core player.
Then you're probably forcing a flatter swing and losing that vertical power.
Exactly. You're leaving speed on the table. Conversely, if you're naturally a lower core player, very rotary, but your P8 snapshot shows you standing tall with high hands like an upper core player.
You've likely stood up too early, lost your axis tilt, and probably leaked a lot of power before impact.
Precisely. So P8 becomes this fantastic self-diagnosis tool. It checks if the end result of your release matches your natural way of generating speed.
Checking if you're maximizing your own engine, as you said earlier.
That's the goal.
Perfect. Okay, so P8 is this key indicator of sequencing and energy flow. And we talked about how the lower core player keeps their head back longer post-impact to maintain that deep rotary axis.
Right, a key element for them.
So here's a final thought we want to leave you with to maybe explore on your own. Could an upper core player benefit from borrowing just a tiny bit of that stability? What micro adjustments in, say, weight shift or timing might allow them to briefly stabilize their center, maybe just for an instant longer around impact, before they fully release into their natural vertical thrust? Could they find a way to get that pure strike stability without totally compromising that powerful upward energy they need?
How much stability can vertical lift borrow from rotation, even momentarily?
Exactly. Something to chew on next time you're watching a slow motion swing or working on your own game.